I have a feeling that there's going to be some Georgia fans that are going to bring some mustard on.
Welcome to My Got a Podcast. I'm Jim Wood. In this episode, John Powell and I preview Georgia's matchup with Tennessee, and we answer questions from you, our listeners. As always, remember to check out store.mygotapodcast.com to see our latest merch. And you can follow us on social media at My Got a Podcast. Finally, if you like what you hear, please subscribe, rate, 5 stars obviously, and review the show. If you leave us a review, you just might hear it on an upcoming episode. Now, let's join the conversation in progress. So, for this evening, what are you drinking?
Oh, this week I've got the regular old Maker's Mark, which shout out to my father-in-law, was a gift that he brought as his donation to the party that we had for which game was it? It wasn't the Missouri game. It was because I went to the Missouri game. What was the last game we went to? Oh, Florida game. It was the Florida game. So this was his contribution to the Florida game, along with a delicious pecan pie from Publix.
Ooh, very nice. Love the Publix pies. I'm quite partial to their key lime pie. They have an excellent key lime pie.
Yeah, see, the key lime pie is definitely superior, but it just doesn't taste as good when it's 50 degrees outside.
Yeah, not the time of year for it. Just that's just my favorite Publix pie.
For sure. For sure.
Well, I've got Old Elk this evening, so.
Oh man, I got to pull the trigger on that one of these days.
Yeah, you got to get it. It's good.
I tell you what, there's if you're into the bourbons, Old Elk has recently come out with a finished series. So if you're into port cask finished, like Angel's Envy or Breckenridge has one that's popular. Chattanooga Whiskey had one that they no longer make, which John and I both love. But they make a port cask finish, a PX like sherry cask finish, and then they had like a couple other ones. I can't remember what they were. I think it was like a Cabernet Sauvignon finished one. But Old Elk just came out with this like finished series stuff that's like super hard to get. So if you're ever come across them, and I know, Jim, that you're in an ABC state, but if you ever come across them, I highly recommend them.
Nice. Yeah, I got to get over at that one place you told me about that's over in South Carolina.
Yeah, dude.
I gotta make it over there.
What was it? Southern Spirits? I can't remember what it was called.
Southern Spirits. Yeah, it's not too far away. It's just I haven't been over there. What I'll probably do, I need to hit it up like on my way to or from Fripp, because when we go to Fripp, that's on the way. So
yeah,
maybe I'll do that.
If you are a bourbon Twitterer, then and you partake in the bourbons and like the bourbons, what I would recommend if you want to find a great store, because if you're like Hunter or you or someone that's in these states where it's hard to get stuff, but like maybe there's some accessible stuff around you, and even in the metro Atlanta area, you're like, man, my liquor store doesn't ever have anything. Well, jump on Instagram, find like hashtag bourbon or find some bourbon, like try to get in the bourbon algorithm on Instagram.
Right.
And there are liquor stores that are very good at processing like their social media following so that you can find out about some of these things. So Sprayberry Bottle Shop over in Marietta is probably one of the best in the business in the state of Georgia. Jack's Liquor up in Buford is another fantastic store where they have tons of options. So like Sprayberry, they have like a whole section of their store that's just for their bourbon like barrels that they've picked. And as we've talked about in the past, like those barrel selects are like very unique. So like Hunter has a Woodford store pick that he keeps talking about. I'm like, man, I literally can't get it because nobody has that concoction in the state. And he calls it his lemon bar Woodford.
Yeah.
Which just sounds really good. But anyway, you can get a lot of unique stuff if you can find a really creative store that gets a lot of picks.
Well, I will say our boy David Lee, which he's going to laugh because I called him that. I know he listens. He'd been getting caught up and was talking to me. He's been trying to help me out a little bit as well. So thank you, David. All right, so we got the Vols. They wear orange, which instantly means they're bad. Uh, this is one of those teams where that, for me personally, I used to have a lot more hatred and vitriol for them, just because of like we could never beat them. Like for me growing up, it was like we are never going to beat these guys, and we have really turned that around. Um, so
Mm-hmm.
to the point where now like we lead the all-time series, right? So we are now ahead of Tennessee in the all-time series, 25, 23, and 2. Which the other thing is, it's funny that we've only played them 50 times. So this is only the
Mm-hmm.
51st matchup between these two teams. We didn't play them before the
Yeah.
SEC went into divisions. We just didn't play them that much. It's kind of weird.
It's weird because like you go back and it's like the first time they ever met was back in like 1899. Like how in the world
Yeah.
is this not like, the world, one of the, I can't remember. I can't remember how old the Auburn game is, but how is this not one of those types of games? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so well,
Um,
we've been playing them a similar like elapsed time, is similar since the first matchup, right? It's just that they were not an annual opponent for a long time. So
yeah, yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's funny. You go to the Winsipedia page, and if you've ever gone to that website, you can see like the whole span of the series. It's like, wow, there's like some serious like there is. So we played them in 1937, and then we didn't play them again until 1969.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like,
that's crazy.
how is that? What did they just like die? Like, what happened?
Yeah, I don't know. It was just the way the SEC scheduling worked back
Yep.
then. I guess I don't know. Who knows?
But then
I'm not sure that there really was like conference scheduling so much. I don't even know how it worked back then.
no, no, for sure. But then you can see like obviously the Fulmer years, and then you had like the Richt years and the Kiffin years, and and then it's basically all red for the Dooley, Butch, and Pruitt, and now we're in what Heupel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
you could
yeah.
definitely see. You can definitely see what happened to Tennessee.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think this is one where Mark Richt, really changed the tone of this series.
Mm-hmm.
When he arrived, I mean, Donnan did beat Tennessee in his last year, and then Richt kind of kept it going. And whenever they tried to peek their head back out, we were able to kind of shove them back. And Kirby has obviously continued that. So it's with that matchup, we go through the normal stuff, right? So 3:30 p.m. kickoff. It is the CBS game of the week. So you got the big boy crew. The official hashtag on Twitter: UGA verse 10. That's TENN. That's the official hashtag. Um, Weather looks like clear skies, but another cold one. So high of 46 and a low of 36 for the day. So again, at 3:30, I guess I would assume it'd be somewhere more towards that high, but then maybe even cool off towards we get to the end of the game.
I have to pause for a second there as we run through this and just give a shout out to Logan Booker for the best description of this game, because he was throwing shade at Auburn for the time of year that this game is being played at. He's like, ordinarily this would be a wonderful day to go to Knoxville and see some beautiful fall foliage, but we're in the middle of winter with a high of 46.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I feel like we should talk about that.
Okay, let's talk about it.
It's all Auburn's fault, and this is one of those things that
It's
I
all
get. And like I get mad about this, and like this is the thing. Like I feel like some people are like, "Oh, you should get over it." Like it is what it is. But whatever, it's Auburn's fault. They couldn't deal with having Georgia and Alabama like right together back to back at the end of the season, and asked to have this game moved. That happened. Before that happened, we had to have the whole like we played Auburn 2 years in a row, and that's what put that Auburn for Auburn having Georgia and Alabama both at home or both away right at the end of the same season. So it's all their fault, and I'm still not okay with it. Like this game should have been in October. Like I don't like it.
Well, Jim, as we mentioned at the end of our last show, all checks run through Birmingham, and
Yeah.
my compatriot at the bar was definitely intently watching the Auburn game.
Right. See, there we go. Exactly. My sincere. I feel like there maybe is some level of hope now that with the SEC expanding again, and the schedules are all going to change. My hope is that Josh Brooks can get this fixed. I would like to have Auburn and Georgia Tech be on alternating years, meaning you either have Auburn at home or Georgia Tech at home, not both, like the way it is right now, to get that switch back, and then also time of year. Who knows? We'll see. Okay. Anyway, sorry. I'll get off my soapbox. Tennessee is 5-4 on the season overall, and 3-3 in the SEC. Yeah. Sorry, I got sidetracked by my rant. I'm having to come back down from that.
Okay. Calm down, Jim. I knew that I would get you off the rails pretty easily, and you're not even in the bourbon. You haven't even barely taken a few sips.
I had like a sip. That's it. That's all. That's just me. That's just me. That's just how I am.
So let's talk about how terrible this orange is. I'll tell you what. I know that it was game week because I went to work out this morning and I had a Columbia shirt that was orange and I was wearing it. I was like, yeah, I'll just wear this because I was just wearing it and I didn't want to change. And then I was like, wait a second, I can't be seen out in public in this thing. It's orange.
Right.
So yeah. I told Lizzie, I was like, hey, just it's still orange week. There's no orange this week. Like, no, the kids cannot wear orange.
No orange. I pretty much just I just don't really own any orange. That's how I try to avoid such things. I've kind of taken that out of the wardrobe. Okay.
It was a $5 Columbia shirt, and it was a gift from her, so I'll forgive it.
No, that's okay. It's okay. Yeah, you definitely don't want to wear it this week. I'm not saying that everyone has to have no orange. I'm sure I have some somewhere. Definitely.
It is funny. It is funny. Like my wife will like send me stuff and be like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" I'm like, "It has orange in it." No. The kids. It's for the kids. It's for the kids. I don't care.
Oh yeah. Oh, we have that. The funny thing is, too, like with our girls, like they really don't care. Like, I mean, as was pretty evident when we had them on the podcast talking to Carter. Carter was like, "You don't know who JT Daniels is."
Exactly. Yeah.
But even they are like, "Ew, orange, gross. We hate orange." Like, they get more into like the dislike of other schools than anything else. Like they hate Florida. They hate Tennessee. They hate Georgia Tech. So
I can definitely tell that we're having some impact on that in that regard because, like, I have a teenager. Obviously, she's 14 and is starting to like talk about boys and things like that. And then she'll like tell me like about this boy and be like, well, what's his family? What does his family follow? They're like, she'll be like, they follow Auburn or they follow Tennessee. And I'll be like, well, it was nice knowing him.
That's good. That's good parenting right there. That's good parenting.
It's just good parenting. We're just trying to avoid conflict here, guys. I can already see it happening. Like, no, it's immediately no.
That's right. All right, let's hit the news and notes.
Let's.
So with the news and notes, so first thing, we didn't talk about this in the Missouri review, and we didn't have this information obviously at the time of the Missouri preview, but just wanted to say, we're obviously aware of the Adam Anderson situation, as everyone is, but not going to get into it much here. We're going to, kind of treat it as Kirby has stated. It's a legal matter, and we will just wait and watch that legal process unfold and leave it to that. So just wanted to say that, and then from there we'll move on to the usual kind of things we talk about from the news and notes. Which, starting off, a couple of things on from Kirby's press conference on player availability updates. So he did talk about the fact that Dominic Blaylock has been repping with the scout team. He said that he repped with the scout team last week. So I think that's a good sign. He didn't say anything about like he's going to play this week or anything like that.
Did he say hopeful?
He didn't even mention that. But the comparison he did make was with Julian Rochester, which I'm blanking on if we even talked about that. So Julian Rochester did come back. He did play in the Missouri game. That was his first playing time this season, and he talked about the fact that Rochester came back to the scout team first and got in a lot of good work on the scout team. So the fact that Blaylock is playing on the scout team, I think, is a good sign. Don't expect to see him back this week, but that is at least good news. The one where the word or a similar word was used was with Jamari Salyer. So he got a question about Salyer, and here's what Kirby said. He said, Jamari Salyer may be able to go this week. We're hoping to get him back. Which I feel like
what?
I feel like we need to start tracking this even closer, because like last week there was comments about, or there have been comments about Arian Smith and Jermaine Burton, and they really played last week. So I don't know. I think we need to do a little bit of research to see, does hopeful mean they're out and hoping to get him back? Like maybe that actually is good. I don't know. We need to keep tracking that, keep tabs on that, to read the Kirby tea leaves. I feel like we might even be on to yet another thing. So if Salyer plays this week, I think that's trending towards hoping is good, but hopeful is bad. So we'll see.
Is it a verb or is it a
right?
I don't even know.
Right. What tense are we using here? All these things.
But hold on. He entered in some new lexicon, some new Kirby lexicon. I feel like can we get like some glasses on anybody that's listening to this that has ties into the athletic program, like this can touch Kirby. Like, are you listening to My God, a podcast? I feel like you're messing with us at this point.
Right. I feel like he is.
I feel like you're messing with us. It feels like he's definitely messing with us.
He's totally messing with us. And then again, like the thing that Kirby decided to harp on this week. So he was asked, how much stock do you put into a player's stars? And Kirby had like a brief pause and then a one-word answer: 0. Like the way he said it was hilarious. And it has been turned into a GIF. So thank you to Blake Davis for alerting us of this gem, that this moment had taken place, and we were able to quickly GIF Kirby saying 0. So it was pretty funny. He went in to elaborate a little bit more, but his initial just saying 0 was pretty hilarious.
Well, and we were the GIF machine is what was actually requested. The GIF machine that is My God, a podcast.
That is true. It is true.
We were on the mother. That was let's camp out there for just a quick second. I think that does anybody actually believe that? Do you believe that, Jim?
No. Although I saw one thing that I did see, there was an exchange. I can't remember who originally said it, but I saw it because Seth Emerson responded. And part of it was some of these guys, they're 5 stars because of who they're recruited by. So think about it that way. Like the coaches are the true evaluators, and these services pick up on, oh, hey, Kirby wants this guy, Saban wants this guy, right? Like, they both want him. He must be pretty good, that kind of deal. And so sometimes that ups the level. So I think there's some level of truth to that. But that's not the case with everyone, right? So yeah, I mean, I will say yes, stars do matter. I mean, you can look at the blue chip ratio and all that kind of stuff. It's hard to argue. So
the way that I would look at it is that everything trickles up, right? In the talent, in regards to talent, right? So these guys are coming through. They start out in middle school, right? And so I know that things have actually changed, I feel like, because my daughter and I were talking about this, and I was like, is there a middle school football team? She was like, no, it's like the junior Hoyas, at least in Cobb County it is anyway. So in Cobb County, the the football teams start like much younger, and they're all associated with the high school. So technically,
Yep.
like my son, if he were to go play football right now, like he would be playing for the high school team, but they're just the junior Hoyas. And so
Mhm. Yeah.
that whole organization from top to bottom is all connected to the high school. So these kids are being identified earlier and earlier and earlier through the high school ranks. So like the team that's like his age right now is kind of like this, they haven't been beaten in like 3 or 4 years or something like that. So like it's basically like the crux of what will eventually be the high school team is kind of what their vision is, right? So
Mhm.
as they run through the ranks, they get identified. And so as these high school coaches get identified, and as college coaches have all their networks out there, like who's good? Like what are the
Mhm.
players that we need to be looking at? That's part of why you hire guys that have high school connections and the connections locally and regionally, and why your staff has to have connections locally and regionally so that you can identify some of these guys and that they'll bring talent to you from the get-go. Hey, you need to look at this guy. Hey, this kid's coming up. You should come checking him out. And that's why some of these kids are getting recruited in 8th grade, 9th grade, and 10th grade, and 11th grade. Like they get recruited as underclassmen, right? So by the time they're seniors, generally speaking, the big stars, like the automatics, if you will, like they're already
Mhm.
identified, right? And there's the
Yeah.
occasional like one-off that like, oh yeah, he started playing football in 10th grade or something like that. So
Yeah.
like to an extent, and then they come through the camps, and Kirby's got his camp, and the other schools have their camps, and then the recruiting services have their camps. So like everybody's got their eyes on all these kids. So like, yeah, like recruiting does matter, and the stars do matter because everybody's determined that these kids are good. And I've seen that with the soccer side of things. Like it works very similarly. Like it's all about like the connections and everything like that. Like who's good. Everybody sees all these kids playing throughout the year. Like which ones are really good, and it's like you can tell pretty quickly which kids are really good and which kids are not.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. I guess Kirby obviously believes that recruiting matters. Yeah, I think he could probably come in with some kind of argument of he doesn't care. He trusts his evaluation, not the stars. I mean, that's probably kind of what he was saying. But he went on. He elaborated a little bit. Like he said that like the only time he cares is when there's a kid he's recruiting that's upset and like whining. I think he used the word whining about like their stars or lack thereof, and he wants those kids to be happy, that kind of thing. And so he has to like talk them through it and tell them it doesn't matter or something along those lines. But
Yeah, I
in
figure.
general, I don't buy it. I mean, and he knows
I,
it.
fi-
So
I figure if you get to the level that where the University of Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee, Auburn, like if a Power Five team is recruiting you, particularly in the SEC, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, like
mhm.
you are very clearly an elite talent.
Yeah,
Um, like it doesn't matter what the stars are; like they believe in you.
right.
Now, you obviously like pan out and things like that, but like there's a reason that you know, you know, Montravius Adams, like that was a big recruiting loss for Georgia. Like I remember that one. That was like a big one. Had he come to Georgia, it could have changed a lot for Rick. Like there's certain pieces that you miss out on. Like all these players that Alabama had over the last decade. I remember when a lot of them were like, yeah, it's between Georgia and Alabama, and they chose Alabama. They just happened to they picked Alabama, and had they picked Georgia, things might have turned out a lot different.
Yeah, no, yeah. Players matter. Players matter, obviously.
Yep.
All right, let's go. Let's get it. Let's jump into the game. So let's start as usual. Talk a bit about when Georgia has the ball. So our offense, their defense. One thing I wanted to point out here. This is just kind of funny to me. Like there's a lot of familiar names on Tennessee's defensive staff. They actually have 3 former Georgia assistant coaches on their staff. Um, so they got Willie Martinez is the secondary coach. Rodney Garner is the defensive line coach, and Mike Keeler is their outside linebackers coach. So they got 3 former Georgia assistants all there. So just thought that was interesting.
So we got third and Willie. So we had
Mm-hmm.
third and Grantham earlier this season. So we got third and Willie coming up.
Yep,
Sweet.
yep, exactly. Um, uh, just kind of looking at like the SEC leaders and all that kind of stuff. One guy kind of jumped out. So it's Jeremy Banks, a linebacker for them. He's tied for third in the SEC in tackles with 74 tackles in the season. So someone to watch out for there. But their defense doesn't look so great to me. So they give up 418 yards a game. They're giving up 28 points a game. They seem to be like at least like where they kind of fall in SEC statistics. They're better at defending the run than the pass, but like I said, they're giving up a lot of yards a game. I went and watched. I haven't watched a ton of them, so I watched a little bit of their game this past weekend against Kentucky, and I mean, like, the Tennessee defense like basically couldn't really stop Kentucky. I mean, so they had a pick six. They did have a pick six, but other than that, I mean, Kentucky. Well, they had 42 points. I think the game's like 45-42. So, Kentucky's offense was able to move the ball, and they really controlled the possession of that game and really dominated. Just Kentucky couldn't tackle. We'll talk about that later. So yeah, I mean, looking at what our offense has been able to do, I feel pretty good about our chances against this Tennessee defense.
Yeah. I mean, the defensive side is where things are definitely going to come into play. But I think that our offense is definitely going to move the ball. I mean, you got Kentucky, we basically blanked South Carolina, basically blanked Missouri, basically blanked Kentucky. I mean, even Florida, I would file into that. So all of these teams that they have multiple scores on. I mean, they won by multiple points against South Carolina, but I mean, they just went through a barn burner with Kentucky. Like, that to me is just like the red flag immediately. All of these people that are talking about how Tennessee is preparing for an upset. I don't know if you saw some of that on Twitter this week, but apparently some of the guys that were talking locally, like, hey man, these guys are thinking that it's like a done deal. They're going to upset us, that they've got this figured out. Like, listen guys, y'all have played Alabama and you lost 52-24. That is the only team, and then you lost to Florida 38-14, which I don't even consider in our realm of like circle. Alabama is the only team that y'all have played that has anywhere close to the potency that this team has, and they put 100 on you. And that Alabama defense gave up 24 points. Does anybody in their right mind believe that this Tennessee team is going to put up anywhere close to 20 plus points? Does anybody actually believe that? I mean, I already know the answer to that because looking at the spread and all that jazz, like, just do we really think that they're going to score 20 points on us? That's the predicted score right now on OddsShark. Like,
yeah, no, I don't.
There's no flipping way. There's no flipping way.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll get to that. But I mean, when we've got the ball though, I guess what I'm. Well, okay. So really quick, one thing. Again, I think we're safe to assume it's going to be Stetson again, right? After what we saw last week.
For sure. It's for sure going to be Stetson. He's done nothing. He's done nothing wrong.
Yeah. So we'll have Stetson there at quarterback. Like I said, it looks like their numbers do seem to be better against the run than the pass. So I am, I don't know, right? Like, I mean, they very well may try to do what Missouri did, right? Stack the box, shut down the run game, and make Stetson Bennett beat you, and I think he's fully capable, especially with the weapons back, right? So with Kearis Jackson now playing, with Jermaine Burton back, with Arian Smith back. And, Arian Smith got a nugget stat for you, and I got this I saw this from Brooks Austin. Arian Smith has 5 career receptions for Georgia, and 3 of those were for touchdowns.
Touchdowns, yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
I have a feeling he's going to have another one.
Yeah, he just might. So yeah, so I don't know. Like we may see this may be again, kind of like last week, right? Where kind of grumbling on the running game. What's going on? May not really know there. We'll see. I don't know. I do kind of feel like though there's probably a lot of things that the coaches will be harping on this week in film review on the offense. And just from that, may see some improvement on the ground game.
Particularly the run game.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, I feel like we got a little off the rails, but all right. So just to recap, so we are on our offense versus their defense.
We can switch now. That could be our segment.
All roads. The only reason I asked that question because I feel like we bounced around a little bit, but like all roads are going to lead through this Georgia defense. That's literally the answer to every question about every game that comes up is I don't care what happens on the offensive side. What are you going to do about this Georgia defense? That's the ultimate be all end all question. And I just think that this is going to be, if they haven't seen it yet, if people haven't picked up on it yet, because if you look at the stats, like even like in a like modest, like if you're just looking at this from an objective perspective, like, dude, they have done nothing on the ground. Like everything that they've done has come through the air. So I just don't think that they're going to be like, they didn't run the ball. They haven't run the ball hardly at all. Like, I mean, just not at all.
Well, it's mainly the quarterback. So it's kind of like Florida, right? Their quarterback's their leading rusher.
Which doesn't bode well for this team if that's the case. If your quarterback is the leading rusher, which I don't think he is. I mean, he's close to it. So he's definitely had more attempts. So he's obviously a big boy.
He's had the most yards. So he's got 574 yards. Who has more rushing yards than
him? Evans, their running back. He has 525 yards, and Hooker has 457, right?
No, Hooker has 574. And so it sounds like what I was looking at was doing gross yards, but if you take out his negative yardage on sacks, he is not the leading rusher. So
perhaps, either way, 525 yards rushing. But to your point, though, with him carrying the ball so many times, and to your point, he's a big boy. He's just like we have faced a quarterback that looks just like this, and it happens to be that it was the University of Florida's quarterback and it was Arkansas's quarterback. And it just so happens to be that this team is performing very similarly to those quarterbacks. 69%. He's completing 69% of his passes, which frankly is, he's improved every year he's been at Tennessee. So he's clearly progressed and he's, solid. He's a solid senior quarterback, which, is always going to be a danger at some point. But I just don't think that he's going to challenge us that much, particularly if he's running the ball that much. If he ends up running it as much as Florida's quarterback did, listen, if you try to run the ball at all against this team, good luck. We just talked about that in the last episode. The SEC's leading rusher was basically non-existent in the last game. And I fully expect that that's going to be the case with this team. Our Georgia team is going to make you beat us through the air. In order to do that, you're going to have they're going to have to play perfect. They're going to have no turnovers, and they're going to hope to take the ball away on the other side on the defensive side. And the MO for this Georgia team is just, we are going to take the ball away from you, because if they are throwing it as much as he's got 300 something yards in the last couple of games. Like, clearly this team wants to throw the ball. And if they do, it's going to just give opportunities for Keely Ringo, all of the defensive backs to just have opportunities to take the ball away. Whoever, Breeny, like, it doesn't matter. Smith, like, whoever's in the game is going to have opportunities to intercept this guy if he's going to be slinging it all over the field. And if they start intercepting passes, it's going to be a long day in Knoxville.
Yeah, for sure. So two things it just came to mind while you were going through that. One, just to be clear, so Hooker is a senior, but he's a transfer. So he's a first-year Tennessee player, but he is a senior. So he's been at Virginia Tech prior to this year. Just wanted to call that out. The other thing, when you mentioned Breeny, it reminded me something. So the Georgia football Twitter account had released a video. I don't know. I think it was yesterday, the day after the Missouri game, of a Breeny highlight, and they referred to him as the Vulture. So I was unaware. Vulture. I was unaware of this nickname, and now I'm quite excited about it. So Latavius Breeny is the Vulture, apparently.
The Vulture.
And he did like a little, like a kind of a wing flapping thing after he made a big play. Yeah, after he made a big play. So
did he really?
Yeah. I'll send you the video, and I can retweet it from the podcast. So
Jim. I feel like that should be Breeny the Vulture.gif.
Okay, yeah. Now I'm sitting here watching the video, so excuse the noise. I want to see exactly what it is that he does here. Yeah, I gotta send this to you. It's hilarious. He like takes his hands and puts like the back of your hands to you and like interlocks it to thumbs and then like flaps his wings. So apparently that's his Vulture celebration.
I feel like that's a fraternity. Isn't that a fraternity? I feel like that's a symbol for something. I feel like that's, but I still like it.
I don't know. The one that I know is like this one. And I know we are not in a visual medium.
Omega Psi.
Yeah. Okay, and that's apparently that's what fraternity Nick Dean is in, because he does that quite often. So
yes,
yeah, I don't know. We'll have to look up. We'll have to find out about the Vulture thing. Anyways, sorry, that came to mind while you were saying that. What else? Okay, so the only they are. Here's the things that, like, if you kind of look at just stats and forget that they're playing, that they're what defense they're going to face this week, right? So they're third in the SEC. Their offense is third in the SEC in points per game at 38.2, behind only Alabama and Georgia. So they're third. They have had 5 touchdown passes of over 70 yards. So, when you look at Hooker's stats, like he does have a high completion percentage, but he's not like way up there in passing yardage. I mean, obviously he's running the ball a lot as well, but what they do, or they have gone for many of these home run plays. Although I will say, like, 2 of those touchdowns that were for over 70 yards were against Kentucky last week. I mean, and like Kentucky just could not tackle these guys. That was the thing that I noticed really watching that game. What I saw of it is, Kentucky was just like laying people left and right. So I don't know. But so yeah, I mean, they've been putting up good offensive numbers, but it's going to be like the same old. It's the same question that we keep running into all season, right? Oh, well, this guy, Kentucky has this receiver, Arkansas has this receiver, Kentucky has this running back, Missouri has this running back. How many times do we face the best quote unquote guy in the SEC at whatever position, and we, show that they're mortal when they face a Georgia defense, right?
Yeah. I mean, listen, whatever confidence you as a SEC opponent have coming into any matchup with the University of Georgia needs to be thrown a cold dose of sober reality that whatever production you're hoping to get out of this game, at best, I'm guessing you're probably going to have to cut it in half. Like, I mean, maybe you'll get some yards from an offensive standpoint, but like from a points production standpoint, and this is something that John tweeted out earlier this week. I think it was today. I think the team's given up, I don't know, something like, I don't know, let's call it 6 points a game, right? I think it was like 5.8 or something like that. Maybe it was 6. Yeah. I don't know. But like, if you take out the pick six that's been scored against us, like you take out some of the, take out some of the things that literally have nothing to do with the defense in terms of what opponents are scoring on us. And you get to the point where you're literally talking about the best defensive team in the history. Like in the last 20 something years, I think the team that he was comparing us to was like, what? It was one of the Miami teams that was just like ungodly. You're literally talking about the best defense in the history of college football. Like not just like this decade, not like the last 5 years. The best defense in the history of college football in the era of the most dominating offenses of college football.
Yeah.
That should be a completely like demoralizing statistic for any opposing team coming into this game. Like I can't even underscore it anymore. Like whatever hope you have is going to just evaporate in the Georgia secondary and in the Georgia line.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is again, right? Like, I mean, it's like I don't know how many times we have to say this, but it's like, or how many times we keep being presented this with things like this, right? Well, but Tennessee can throw the ball, and Georgia hasn't faced a passing attack like this, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know. I've got confidence in our guys because again, it's not just the secondary that plays in there. It's also the pass rush, the pressure, and I'm confident in Dan Lanning and company to dial something up there. And again, we've just got the players. I mean,
that's literally the answer there. It's like we take out Jalen Carter, and who do we put in? Like we insert another 5-star into the equation. Like I mean, we talked about at the beginning of this episode, like our leading sack guy is missing from this game, this past game, and he's going to be missing from this game, and most likely he's going to be missing from the rest of the games. But like, we just injected him with a guy that performed just as good.
Right.
We're not missing a beat. We're not missing a beat from levels 1, 2, and 3. We had a team of complete substitutes basically shut down Missouri on the 2-yard line for 3 straight plays.
Yeah, that was incredible. That's the thing, man. And again, that is the difference between this Georgia team and past Georgia teams. Past Georgia teams, there were times where our ones could match up with anyone's, but when you got down to the 2s and especially the 3s, we couldn't keep up with, teams with the supreme depth like Alabama. And we're there now.
Yep.
We're there now. And it gets back to what we were talking about earlier, where, obviously the stars matter. Stars do matter. The recruiting does matter. So, yeah.
For sure.
All right. I have 2 special teams things. If you're okay to move to that, unless you have anything else on our defense.
I don't know that we'll ever be able to stop talking about the defense, but
well, that's true. I mean, we can move on.
We can move on for sure.
Especially as you and I, like, shocking, are long-winded. Like, I could just wax poetic about the defense for like 2 hours at least. But anyways, okay. So the 2 things I have is, one, when I was watching the highlight package of Kentucky, Tennessee, I saw like their kicker made like a decent lengthy field goal. I was like, maybe something to mention. But then, like, by the end of it, I saw him also miss like what would have put them up by 6 late. It was like a 25-yard field goal, and he pushed it right. So I don't really know what to make of that. I don't know much about him, but he seems to be a tad bit inconsistent. And the only
sounds familiar.
Right. And the only other thing was, again, familiarity. I mentioned that Mike Ekeler is their linebackers coach. He's also their special teams coordinator. So, again, familiar face info on the other side. So
Tennessee apparently just can't quit former Georgia special teams coaches. Remember they had John Fabris there for forever.
Oh, man, I love John Fabris. That guy is like crazy.
Mister, I love a challenge on special teams.
No directional kicking. Kick it out of the end zone. Okay, let's.
I feel like I just triggered a swath of Georgia fans.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's hit the listener questions. First up, we've got Lula 34, 40 plus years as a Bulldog fan, living 2 hours from Knoxville in extreme Southwest Virginia. And Vols fans are 1,000% convinced they've got Saturday's game in the bag, preparing to tear down goalpost level of confidence. What am I missing? Looking forward to y'all's take. So I think we kind of already gave our take, hopefully. But
I know the answer. Okay.
What is the answer?
It's moonshine. You're missing moonshine.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like the hope springs eternal kind of thing. Like they think they've figured it out.
Hope springs 1,000 proof moonshine.
Yeah, it's got to be the moonshine. I don't know. I think they're desperate. They want to be back. I mean, they're desperate. I'm not saying they're desperate. They are desperate to be back, like quote unquote back, right? Like they want it to be, 1998. And it just isn't.
So we've reached the point in Tennessee's schedule where they have to play Georgia, and they just don't realize it yet. But they just don't know the barrel of just fierce velocity of just death and danger and destruction that's coming at them. That's going to cut literally all of their statistical categories into just shreds. So everything that you have, again, I talked about this earlier, but we've talked about this, remove the Georgia game from literally everybody that we've played. If you remove the Georgia game from everybody that we've played, all these teams are playing significantly better than they have been. And Tennessee, it's your turn.
Yeah. Yep. All right. J Rake T. I don't know. Did you see this one? This is because he was like, the way I worded this, I should have changed it. I had edited it. Should I use my edited version or what he actually said? Because he was making fun of himself. I'll say what he said.
We should totally just stream of consciousness.
So he said, "Can we ever just play a traditional drop back quarterback? These running / mobile quarterbacks are driving me nuts. How much of a workout is Hendon Hooker going to give my sphincter Saturday night?" That's what he said. And then he replied and was like, "Oh man, that sounded really bad."
Was he into the barrel proof burp when he tweeted that?
Right. That's fine.
I get it. The barrel proof will catch up to you, bro.
So I agree that we have. Sure. I don't know. When is the next? Will we play? I don't know. Will we play a traditional drop back quarterback? For the season? I'm not sure if we will see one. I don't know what Charleston Southern does.
Hang on a second, Jim. Hang on a second. Yeah. I gotta put some respect on Stetson's name here. So.
No. Wait, you're misinterpreting.
Oh.
Nothing to do with Stetson. This is about our defense facing. Our defense ever face a drop back quarterback? We keep facing these running mobile quarterbacks.
And I see.
And so I
misread.
I don't know what Charleston Southern, what their quarterback is. I haven't watched any Georgia Tech yet this year. We'll get to them. So I don't know. We may not until the playoff potentially face one. But here's the thing. Yeah,
Alabama, right? The SEC championship game.
So you consider Bryce Young? I guess he is pretty traditional drop back. But here's the thing. We've faced so many of these guys this year, and what have they done against us? So I would say, I don't think you need to get too worried about it.
Yeah, seriously. Like,
Yeah.
I get it. Like, if I were a team that were trying to beat Georgia, I would trot out the guy that can throw and run the best, because I mean, there were some time, like the biggest, and I didn't talk about this. I probably should have. I mean, we should have at least mentioned it, Jim. There were definitely times in the Missouri game when I was frustrated by how much our defense over pursued the play. We lost contain a lot in the Missouri game. So, like, if
Yeah.
our defense is losing contain, then you might be able to have a chance. But even in that scenario where we were losing contain, I mean, I counted at least 6 plays where our defense over pursued the play and we lost contain on the quarterback, and he was able to damage us either running outside the pocket, making a pass, making a play, moving the chains with his legs. I think there was a couple of plays like that where it was like, man, come on, dude, like, just give up. Like, you, all right, fine, you got us, but you're gonna eventually get destroyed. That's exactly how it feels. Like, if you try to run the ball, regardless of if you're running with the quarterback, running with the running back, if you're doing end arounds, if you're trying to do anything running the ball, particularly if it's lateral. So if you're a quarterback and you're running the ball and you're trying to go lateral on this team, you're immediately going to just get destroyed. Like, just as soon as you step outside the pocket, as soon as you step outside the tackles, our defense is literally going to be on top of you. And it's not just going to be one player, it's going to be gang tackling 2005 level junkyard doggish. I mean, historic junkyard doggish.
Yep.
I mean, there's nothing to worry about with any sort of run element. The only thing that anyone could potentially come up with is, like, if we face a competent passer, which is there a competent passer in the nation right now? Like, I don't know. I don't know that there is. Like, who's going to be who's going to be the first quarterback taken off the board? Can anybody answer that question right now? So if that's the case, then, like, and frankly, we have 2 cornerbacks that are sitting there. I mean, I've referred to Keely Ringo as the island that wide receivers go to die. Well, we can now start. I've started looking at, Darian Kendrick. Like, Kendrick is now, like, we have bookends. Bookends. If you cut off 2/3 of the field, good luck. Yeah. And that's why you see teams putting up these 6-point games against us, because literally they can move the ball, but there's no way you're going to score.
Yep. Agreed. So I think your sphincter is safe, Jay. Right.
I think your sphincter is safe, but again, it goes back to the moonshine. Just get some more moonshine, you'll be fine.
There you go. So this one, I have a recommendation. So 51-7 GATA said, "Where were you the night the goalposts came down in Athens?" So for that, I'm just going to recommend, and we can tweet out a link. I know John Yardy responded to him with a link, but we actually we did an entire episode on that last season. Although I know, like, our audience has grown significantly since then, so a lot of you may not have heard it. But we did an episode last season because last season actually was 20 years, after that night. So we have an episode. We talked with Chase Kelly. You guys all know him, Chance Dog of 7-6 Apparel and Iconic Brands. We talked to Chase. We talked to Jeff Dantzler. Obviously, the 2 of us talked. And I talked about what we were doing and the experience for us. And we talked to George Foster and had him talk to us about that game. So definitely, that is one of our few, I would say, evergreen episodes. It's not about, like, previewing or reviewing an in-season game. Just kind of trip down memory lane about that. Although I haven't listened back to that one, so I'm not sure. We probably didn't have the right microphones and stuff yet. But the stories were good. And everyone we got some really good stories from those folks. So definitely go check that one out.
It may have been an Emmy Award winning episode. I don't know. I think it may have been. And if you go for nothing more than to hear George Foster call me out for not taking on part of the goal,
And you don't even have to wait because it's the cold open, so you get that right at the beginning.
It's definitely the regret of my life.
That's okay. That's okay. All right. I'm kicking myself on this next question because I meant to do some more research on this one. So our buddy Mark Reagan said golf balls and mustard are random things for Tennessee fans to throw during a game against Ole Miss. What projectiles would have been a better match for Kiffin in the ribs? And I meant to ask Hunter what should they have been throwing at Ole Miss. So I don't know. Like you can't really throw these, but I think of like a Dixie cup because like they used to play Dixie or something, but you can't really throw a Dixie cup. So I'm not really sure.
I don't know, hottie toddies.
Yes.
Throw some hottie toddies out there. I don't know.
Something related to the Coach O is crying. Colonel Reb is crying. You know, something there. You know, something related to Brent Schaefer. You know, who played at both Tennessee and Ole Miss. You know, those would be good.
Aye.
So I don't know. I meant to check with Hunter and I forgot. So apologies. But then he said, "What about for all of Tennessee's other games? What else should we throw in? We would take way too long." So let's just say this: what should you know? If there's a bad call in this game, and Tennessee fans are irate, what should they throw onto the field in the direction of Kirby Smart? What would be like a good thematic thing
to throw? A thematic? What thematic?
Thematic, like what matches? Because you know, Mark was saying like, why the heck are you throwing a golf ball? Like it doesn't have anything to do with Ole Miss. Like,
I guess it could be literally anything.
I mean,
I don't know, Tyler. So Tyler, one of our fraternity brothers, Tyler, we used to always joke about that. So this stems from the basketball team. So we went to the basketball team. We saw all these Tennessee fans pouring Jack Daniels into like water bottles and stuff like while we were in the game. So I would say empty Jack Daniels bottles would probably be the thing that Tyler and I would say, because we used to always talk about the Tennessee water, like the Tennessee water that these guys drink.
I mean, clearly, since they're playing Georgia, they should throw 5 stars at Kirby. That's my answer.
5 stars.
So
nice. I like orange donuts. I think orange donuts would be delicious.
That's good. All right. Let's see. John Michael D. # uniform Twitter. Red pants and throwback white tops this weekend. You know, there was an inside sources level tweet from Hunter today. I don't think it's going to happen. You know, I'm on record as saying we should always wear the red pants at Tennessee. However, my prediction, if you're asking me to predict, it's no. I don't think we're going to see any alternate uniforms this season at this point.
This is this thing. So Josh Brooks walks through some of the tailgates that I've been to and that we've all been to. Like, if you are connected in such a way that you can talk to Josh Brooks, like this is what I would wish for the university moving forward, is that we would have some form of just structured. This is the way that it is. There, like if this is the Georgia way, we have a uniform that we wear. Like when we're on the road at Tennessee, we're wearing red pants. When we are at home against Auburn, it's black. You know what I mean? Like just set some sort of tradition that fans can look forward to, and you can dispense with all the BS, and it will make people like Kirby Smart and the sphincter loving like uniform people just like they'll just come into the fold. Okay, this is the way it is. Well, that's the rules. That's what we're gonna do. Well,
you've got to lay it out.
Yeah,
you've got to lay it out before the season starts. Before the season starts, you've got to say, "Here's the games." Yeah, and you say, these are the games that we're going to wear these uniforms, and that's that. The week-to-week questioning, are we going to do it, and waiting for the repeat of the surprise 2007 blackout game, like you can't recreate that, and we shouldn't even try to. So
no,
I agree. I don't think it's going to
happen. No, and if you have like some sort of like inkling that you're going to throw something super sexy out there, like run it past the boosters. Like, if you want to do something super sexy, like run it past the people that are like writing the checks and stroking these like massive, and say, and if they shoot it down, shoot it down. But like, you as the athletic director have control over this. Like, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're about.
Right. And then a second question from John Michael D. Genuinely, is there a more annoying song than Rocky Top? And emphatically, the answer is no.
Emphatically. However, when you are sitting in Neyland Stadium to a shutout victory, there is nothing finer than singing Rocky Top at the top of your lungs after that game.
Well, yeah. I mean, I liked it when Jake Fromm sang it in the locker room. No.
Exactly. Oh my gosh! I hope that we have a repeat of that. Like, because Stetson was around for that. So like let's bring it around.
All right. Here I'm gonna read through 3 things because these are all related, and then we can discuss. So this is quarterback situation stuff. So Aaron King said, "Is it time to make the QB change to ensure JT gets back into rhythm? As good as Stetson has been for us, his ability to throw deep consistently concerns me. By the way, Stetson is a DGD, and he has done a phenomenal job." UGA Anand says, "Who should be starting quarterback, and why do you think Kirby is reluctant to commit to JT once he gets his rhythm back? A blind woman can see JT is far better." And then, very much related, SSI Dog says, "Maybe more of a comment than question, but why can't we, as UGA fans, just enjoy this ride? I don't care who is under center as long as we win. I was there when we beat Notre Dame for the 1980 title and want nothing more than to win another. Tired of the social media bickering over QB1." So I thought all 3 went very well together.
That's a good tie-in, and also it knocks out a lot of questions for the editor.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I'm going to let you answer this first because I'm going to go into a diatribe about this.
I mean, look, I've heard a lot of people talk about this, even on other Georgia podcasts, about that JT is clearly better and yada yada yada. All I'm going to say is I feel like if you watched the Missouri game on Saturday, you saw why Stetson has been starting. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than that. And then the other thing is we're 9-0. And Stetson Bennett, like, statistically, is like the best quarterback in the SEC. So it's like, I mean, like, what else do you want in general? So, I mean, like, okay, like, as far as like who is more gifted and who is quote unquote better, and like maybe when both fully healthy and has been playing, like, yeah, sure. I mean, like, we saw what JT did last year, and we saw what he did at the beginning of the season. Throw the Clemson game out, but he looks really good. But I don't think he is. He hasn't been healthy long enough and gotten enough reps since being back fully healthy to be as good as he can be. So today, the way we're seeing Stetson play and the way we are seeing JT play right now, I would stick with Stetson. All right, over to you. And that was a total like Lauren Smith. Like, back to you. All right.
So I'm going to put this to you in context of the job that I have. So in my world, and working in automotive marketing, for those of you that don't know, I work in automotive marketing. I work for a company, and I work with dealerships and large dealerships. But anyway, I have many times come across talking to someone about statistics. Like, you, sir, may feel a certain way about something, but the data that I showcases something completely different. And your data that you have been giving me showcases something completely different than how you feel. So facts don't care about your feelings. The facts are that Stetson Bennett statistically is showcasing that he is an elite quarterback right now in the SEC. I think he may not be throwing for 350 yards against Kentucky or whatever, but like, he is getting the job done at a level that makes statistical sense and puts him in the category that only, I think, Matt Jones can statistically beat in the last, like, I don't know however long Graham was talking about, but like, there's been multiple breakdowns of how he has performed from a statistical basis, and he is absolutely doing everything that he's been asked to do. There's a reason that when our defense and when the coaches were interviewed about the Rose Bowl victory against Oklahoma, he performed at the level of Baker Mayfield for the coaches to believe that the way that he prepared the team and prepared our team for that Rose Bowl victory was Stetson Bennett. And there's a reason that we went back and asked him to come back. He was invited back. He was invited back into this team for a specific reason. And it's because not only did we just need a quarterback, but they knew what he had. And he's done everything that the team has asked for. The fact is that if you just look at the numbers, like he's throwing further per attempt than JT Daniels. He is executing at a level that JT has not been able to showcase this year. He is the starting quarterback at the University of Georgia until he is not. And nobody is going to say it out loud, and Kirby is never going to say it out loud, but he is the starter. Like ever since game one, when JT just wasn't getting it done, I think that they tried to give him a chance. Like, I feel like that it was one of those situations where it's like, coach, I can go, we can do it. Like, and they just prepared that way. I don't know. Maybe it could be like a criticism of Kirby as a coach to not be able to pivot in that game. But like, he started the whole game. He played the whole game against Clemson. I kind of feel like looking back, it's like, could Stetson have performed a lot better? Because the data certainly suggests that he can, because the way that Clemson lined up against us was they shut down the run, and every team that's tried to do that against us, Stetson has burned. He's burned them. And that's exactly what I think is going to happen in this game and the next game and the next game. And I even think that he's going to torch Alabama. I mean, he was torching Alabama. We just couldn't get it done on the defense. So we have the defense. We have the coaches. Like, I just don't see why this question keeps coming up. Like, I get it. Like, everybody wants to have the big 5-star stud, but like, part of me emotionally just wants Stetson to continue to do it. And he is. He is.
Yeah, I mean, Stetson is, again, heartstrings, like, Stetson is the better story, but again, like, it doesn't. I don't really care about that. Like, I just want to win, and I think there's no reason to think that we can't do that with Stetson Bennett, and that's when he should. So I'm with you. All right. So hopefully that answers everyone's question. All right. Let's see. Zach, SC Dog, 864. All right. You'll be given $1 million to do one of these two things. You must choose. All right. Do you either try to tackle Nick Chubb, or do you get tackled by Jordan Davis? Which do you prefer?
Am I going first on this one?
I'll go first. I went first on the last one.
Okay. I'll go first.
Okay.
All right. So this is going to be a simple, like, physics.
Okay. Yes.
This is going to be simple physics.
I think I see where you're going with this one. Okay.
Jordan Davis is substantially larger as a human being than Nick Chubb. So, and notice that the question was attempt to tackle. Yes, I can arm tackle Nick Chubb all I want. Here, take my left arm. I don't need it. Take the left thumb. I don't need it. But like, if Jordan Davis is actually tackling me, no, thank you. No, thank you, sir.
Yes. Yes. Agree. By the way the question was phrased, I agree. I mean, I could try and tackle Nick Chubb and like Olay and just kind of let him go around. Now, if it's get trucked by Nick Chubb or get tackled by Jordan Davis, I still think it's get. I still go maybe because like he's probably just going to run through you and then you're on the ground, whereas Jordan Davis might land on you.
It's like one of those. It's like one of those. Like, you can see the truck coming at you, and you can like kind of like brace yourself like as he runs through you. But like,
Right.
if
right.
you're running and he's tackling you, there's just no avoiding that. Like you're
Right,
just gonna
right.
die.
Unless like Jordan Davis, like I have a really big head start and I'm right by the out of bounds and it's more of like a shoestring tackle. I can live with that. I'm assuming considering my speed and he's like way faster than me, which is also hilarious. Not happening. Okay, and then he had a second question. Over under on how many times the Mays brothers get embarrassed Saturday, and he said that he's got it set at 5. I feel like that line has to get set at 4.5 though, because that's how many fingers their dad has on one hand.
That's funny.
So that's it. That was I just wanted to lead to that joke. So
that's all I got. That's all I got.
Which leads us to our next question from Fletcher Proctor. If you had to Kevin Mays yourself, which digit are you dropping? I'd say left pinky. That's the correct answer, right?
I don't know.
I think that's the right answer. My concern with that is like playing golf, because as a golfer, I'm an interlocking golfer, and I play golf. I'm right-handed, but I play golf left-handed. So it's my left pinky interlocking with my right index finger, and I feel like that would throw me off a bit. But I think that's probably the right answer if you're right-handed, is your left pinky. I will say my neighbor across the street from me growing up, in a horrific home improvement accident, sawed off his left index finger, and they could not reattach it. And I will say he was my dad's like Alta doubles tennis partner. He's right-handed and had 4 fingers on his left hand, missing his index finger, and he was still a very good tennis player. So I don't know. That has me kind of questioning this a little bit, but I still think I don't know. I think Fletcher's probably right.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go left pinky. Left pinky is probably a good option.
All right. Okay. From there, we know what time it is now. It's time for Coach Trillbill's over-unders. And we'll fade out the music because, as we know, we cannot focus with the music on. All right.
We cannot.
Coach Trillbill's over-unders. Georgia, total touchdowns, over-under, set at 5.5. I'm going to go
over.
Actually, I'm going to go over as well. Okay.
I was like, the slow pause there was doing the math.
yeah. It was certainly I was told there was no math moment for myself as well. Okay.
I was told there would be no maths.
Georgia defense / special teams touchdowns. So combined, over under set at 0.5.
Ooh, so we're given either or? Is that kind of
either
the
or?
Way that works?
Yeah,
either or.
Exactly.
There's definitely going to be one. It's a half. It's a half.
Yeah, set at 0.5. Yeah.
I'm going over.
Okay. I'm going to go over
for sure
as well, because again, as I said last week, I'm done disagreeing with you just to disagree. Okay. Georgia passing yards, over under 275.
Oh, dang, that's a good line.
That is a good line. Push.
I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under.
Under? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go over. Okay.
Just to disagree, or you actually think that we'll go over?
Because I think we're gonna throw in this game. That's what
we are definitely going to throw, but the question is, are we going to throw 270 yards worth?
Yeah, it is a lot.
That's a lot for stats. That would be can we put glasses on it? You got the keyboard up. Would that statistically be Stetson's best throwing performance?
Hold
Ever?
on.
Trying to put glasses on it.
I don't know. I don't know. That is a good question. What's the most he's thrown for in a game?
Wait for it. Wait for it.
I just tried to click on a link on my computer, and my computer's like locked up. So you're gonna have to look it up.
Nice. Passing. He has not thrown for it this year for sure.
I changed my answer.
So he threw for 255 against Missouri. He threw for 250 against Kentucky. 231.
But see, here's the thing. He threw for 250 against Missouri,
255.
and he only played like 2.5 quarters.
Mm.
So then that becomes the question.
Well, that begs the question: is JT going to come in? Yeah.
Right. Which we didn't review. We didn't go over all of Coach Trillbill's, in our reviewing predictions. He hit the line though, like because last week for Missouri, he set the line over under JT enters the game at third quarter, which is what he did. Shout out Coach Trillbill. Okay.
Who does Coach know?
Let's see. UGA total rushing yards over under set at 225.
Rushing yards 225. I'm going to go under.
Yeah. I think these are both really good lines. I'll go under as well. But then,
how many games have we had? How many games have we had that we've rushed
225? Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to put glasses on that as well. I love this one. TV highlights of Stokes' hit in 2019 when he blew up their quarterback and he fumbled.
Oh yeah, was it Maurer?
Was it Maurer? Yeah, it was Maurer. So over under 2.5 times that highlight is shown during the broadcast.
At least one.
Yeah, I think it's under. It could be once or twice. I feel like it'll be there in the opening sequence, in the opening montage on CBS, and then maybe once.
I mean, it's for sure going to be there because it was fairly recent. It was a pretty impactful play too, so you figure they'll definitely have some B-roll up for it.
Yeah, for sure. Tying back into Mark Reagan's question earlier, over under golf balls thrown at Georgia 4.
I'm going to go over.
Over. I'm going to go push. And over under mustard bottles thrown at Georgia. Oh, wait. He says, he has UGA. It's all caps. So I'm assuming it's UGA, not other. Over under 12 mustard bottles thrown at Georgia.
Okay, so here's the thing. I have a feeling that there's going to be some Georgia fans that are going to bring some mustard bottles. that are going to completely ruin this line.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
I think I'm going to go with the over because I have a feeling that there's going to be a number of mustard bottles on the field by the end of this game.
For sure. And it's going to make an amazing SEC short. Georgia
a better question or better line play would be over under number of mustard bottles that are confiscated at the gates of Neyland Stadium.
Right. And what percentage are confiscated from Georgia fans?
Exactly. Imagine how many fraternity, like when we were in school, Reagan, like what would you do?
Oh yeah. We totally would have tried to bring mustard bottles to this game.
You and Riley, like Alvy, like all those guys would have thrown mustard bottles on the field.
I don't think I've ever thrown anything on the field. The one thing I do remember was so this is what you would have still been in high school, but like when we were in the Peach Bowl my freshman year, like they passed out Chick-fil-A cows, like a plush Chick-fil-A cow to everyone. And like when the teams, like the first time there was a touchdown, like everyone threw their Chick-fil-A cow. So like I definitely remember that, and there was like just Chick-fil-A cows like everywhere, and it happened like every time either team scored. It was hilarious. So
That's
that's the
funny.
most throwing I've ever seen. All right, that's it. That's it for Coach Trillbill.
Thank you, Coach.
So as always, yes, thank you, Coach.
As always.
Much appreciated. Okay, so let's get into the actual game predictions. So looking at the line, so Georgia is a 20.5-point favorite. The over-under is at 56. I got a new term. I learned a new term, which I'm sure I had heard before. But I always say how, like if you add the over/under with the spread and whatever, I was calling it a predicted score or whatever, but implied score is the term I heard. And so I got Tony Waller says that. So that makes sense. The implied score based on the spread and over/under. So it would come up to like Georgia 38.25 to Tennessee 17.75 if you just do the math. So somewhere around there, like 38 to 17, 39 to 18, something like that is the implied score. Which again, to your point of what we've talked about is like, do you really think Tennessee's offense is going to score 17 points on our defense? Right? Like that's kind of the question there. I don't remember which one of us gave this stuff first last week. I don't know. Do you have your stuff, or do you want me to go?
Yeah, honestly, the only thing that I'm struggling with is where I want to land with the Georgia score. I'll go. Hold on. While I'm doing that, if you have your answer, go ahead and throw it out there.
I do. Yeah, and like we look at OddsShark and their kind of predicted scores. They've actually got like Tennessee scoring a lot more. So they've got 49 to 20, 49 to 20.4, which is still a Georgia cover in the over. I've got Georgia winning 42 to 13. Again, I could see either, they throw the D ball. Although I don't know, like a lot of those, like one of those long touchdowns against Kentucky was actually like a wide receiver screen. The guys took to the house because Kentucky can't tackle. But I don't know. I think they'll either be. I mean, there could be like they could get one over the top, or there could be the will they or won't they score moment at the end of the game, as we've seen a couple times, and maybe they punch one in. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to think they score a touchdown. Which is funny that now the conversation is like, will they score a touchdown? That's kind of where we're at. But I don't know. I mean, it's they're a traditional rival. It's the game of the week on the road. It'll be hostile, and that just pumps our guys up. So I've got us winning pretty big.
Yeah. So I'm going to go 38 to 9. That's my score. I'm going to go 38-9. I believe that they do not score a touchdown on us with that 9 points. I believe it's all going to be field goals. I believe that they're going to move the ball just like we've seen. But I just don't think that they're going to be punching the ball in for a touchdown anytime soon. The reason that I think that is, I think that we're going to see a very similar game to what we saw with Missouri, where we're going to have a lot of attacking through the air, and Stetson's going to get pulled, JT's going to get put in, and the offense is going to kind of, it's going to change. I don't want to say stall, but like it's just going to change. It's just going to be practice for JT, in my opinion. I hate to say that, but that's exactly what I feel like. And
so that
I think everybody's gonna we cover and it's under.
Okay, cool. Sorry. So what were you saying?
I was just gonna say that I think that this is going to be a coming out party for Darian Kendrick if he hasn't already hit the scenes. Like I feel like Kelee Ringo has already kind of like made a name for himself because he's the island that wide receivers go to die. But Darian Kendrick is very quickly becoming that way, and I feel like that we're going to start seeing a little bit more involvement from the secondary this game because I just don't think that they're going to move the ball on the ground at all. Like at all. It's going to be almost the exact opposite of what we've seen from the big quarterbacks, like Florida, like they tried to run. I mean, I think that Arkansas also tried to run, but like these guys are going to try to throw, and I just don't think it's going to end well for them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think they're going to try to throw too. I think that's going to be their game plan. And I mean, look, like I think Heupel had that scheme at Missouri when he was their offensive coordinator. Had this scheme at UCF. I think it's a good scheme, but again, it's just against. They haven't done it against anything like what they're going to come up against on Saturday in our defense. So,
yeah, seriously, it's definitely going to be a. As John said, we're going to find out. We're going to find out how well we can defend the pass on this game because you got Hooker coming in, averaging about 10 yards per completed attempt. I don't know what his air yards is per just actual attempt, but
that was the thing I noticed.
He's 10 yards. He's 10 yards per attempt. He's 10 yards per attempt.
Yeah. But that's 10 yards, like average yards gained, right? Per attempt.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing. They do throw it up. They do go up top, but I saw a lot of kind of lateral throws as well at least against Kentucky. We've just got so much speed. I would be surprised, if they're able to do that against our defense.
Yeah, I'm just not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it get done. I mean, it's just one of those games where I just don't see it. I just don't see it. If there's confidence, I mean, our offense is averaging just a shade under 12 yards per attempt. Like, I just don't see it, man. They may frustrate us, like with the little dink and dunk kind of. They may dink and dunk us, but like when they get into the red zone, they're going to have something, and I just don't think they're going to have it.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. Let's see what's your viewing situation this weekend?
So, funny story. Obviously, it's an away game, 3:30 kickoff. I haven't actually. Tomorrow the soccer schedule comes out. So I don't know our soccer schedule just yet. However, I do know that we have Santa pictures on Sunday. Lindsay Powell Photography is going in front of the camera instead of behind the camera on Saturday. So we have pictures apparently at 2:20, which is an interesting number. Because my wife was like, it gives us time to get in and get out and get back for the Georgia game just so that you don't yell at me. Maybe. We're going to Woodstock. So like, I don't know. I'll be watching at home. Weather's supposed to be pretty decent. Last I checked, I think the rain percentage here was pretty low, but it's going to be pretty chilly. So I don't know. We'll see. Definitely going to be at the house. Definitely going to be watching on TV. It's just a matter of if it's going to be outside in the patio. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a little too chilly for that. We'll see. We've got soccer schedule. So, but Lily's game's earlier. It's at like 11. So no issue there. Although I do have a conflict on the back end. So we will see. Ella has a play. Saturday night. So it's at 7. So I'm going to be cutting close at the end of the game and heading over to the play. So
what's the play?
She's in like multiple. She's in multiple things right now. So, but this is something through the school. I think it's kind of like This one, I don't. It's not exactly a play. It's like a shoot. I can't think of the. I'll say like a variety thing. I'm misplacing the word, and she would totally like laugh at me and that he's just an idiot kind of thing. Not getting the terminology.
I really just put you behind the eight ball.
It's like a showcase kind of thing.
Showcase.
It's not like a play. But yeah, no, she's got multiple things going on right now. So she's got that. She's also in Once Upon a Mattress is the play that she's in right now. It was on Broadway, or like that's where it came from or whatever. So she's in that also this week. And then she's also in why can't I think of it? A Christmas Carol.
Classic
at the high school. Yeah.
Are any of these streamed online for us to entertain ourselves?
Let's see. Once Upon a Mattress, we usually get a copy. I could probably show it to you.
Okay.
Because the where she does those through, we usually get a copy of that. The Christmas Carol is through the high school though. They don't. I don't. I'm trying to think. I'm not sure. We were able to rewatch what their play last spring. So maybe I'll put glasses on it.
Incidentally, as I asked that question, if anybody wants to watch Carter's games, I have access to every single one of his games online. So,
is this like a rewatch? Like somebody?
No, one of our transfers. we had a transfer come in this season, and his dad got a. I don't know if you're familiar with such things, but there's a product called Vio.
I know a guy that has one of these. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So if you're familiar, it's a little green triangle thing, and they put it on this tripod, and it goes up into the air, and it gives you a 360-degree view of the entire field for every single player, and you can see literally everything. You can zoom in, you can all that, share it, like whatever. It's actually pretty awesome. Like, and to be perfectly transparent, like I've willingly admitted that there are games that I need to like record and like watch and like save and cut up and splice up, but like I haven't done it. But I did watch some portions of some games that I missed recently with Carter. I told him, and when he found out, he's like, "Wait, I can watch these?"
That's awesome.
So we may have Carter Powell film review.
I feel like we're gonna have to make a highlight tape.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. All right, well, enjoy the Santa pictures on Saturday. Yeah, obviously watching from home. Actually, the last time we can maybe end on this. The last time I went there to Knoxville was actually the Hobnail Boot game. I haven't been back since then. That's the last time I went. So
that's a good game to go to.
Yeah, it was fun. And we actually, I will say, we left the stadium game ended. We left the stadium. We did not stay in Knoxville Saturday night. We drove back to Athens because Jump Little Children was playing at the Georgia Theater that night. And we wanted to go see that concert. So we drove all the way back from Knoxville to see Jump Little Children. And it was awesome, as it always was back then. So
that's funny. Good times. Cool. All right, man. Well, let us know how the plays go, and I'll keep you posted on my end. I think I'm pretty confident I'm going to be able to watch this whole game, but we'll see.
Yeah, nice. All right, man. Well, we'll enjoy, and I'm sure we'll be texting throughout the day on Saturday as always, and we'll be back afterwards to review it.
Yep. Hit us up on the socials. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.